Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I have another paint with me video. This is just going to be a really simple, quick, but also elegant design for a watercolor flower. If you want to see how this turned out and more, you can follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. So keep watching to see how we got to this end result. I'm starting off with drawing a flower in Micron Pen. I'm going to outline everything in ink first and then fill in the color palette with my watercolors, which are to the right later. I personally enjoy the look and feel of a flower that is fully outlined in ink first with some loose color behind it. Of course, you can always substitute out the ink and it's not really a necessary step, but I personally like to give some definition to the drawings. For actually drawing the flowers, I like to start with the main centerpiece of the petals first and place the two main flowers where I want on the page. And then I'll connect them with their stems and leaves after. Okay, so now I'm drawing the stems of the flowers and the leaves. I'm just kind of going with a natural curve shape. I really actually didn't have this planned, and I think what works best is as long as you can find a way to connect the two main flowers, just branch off the stems and tulips and petals and everything else more organically. Okay, now I'm going to draw a crescent-shaped moon behind these flowers. I've seen some examples of art that incorporates floral designs and celestial designs like a sun or a moon, so I really wanted to add in the moon here. I love the shape and the way that it adds a contrasting kind of sharp edge with the points of the crescent in relation to the floral design, which is a little bit more soft. And just close out the design at the bottom with some small leaves. Okay, now it's time to start mixing colors for the actual painting. I'm mixing a purple kind of warm toned color, and then I'm also going to mix in some orange, and these will be the colors for the petals. So with watercolor, the more water that you add, the more it will dilute the pigment, and vice versa. The more pigment that you add, the more your colors will show on the page. I'm kind of aiming for a medium mix of saturation. So I think that this design is actually really good if you've never done watercolor before or if you're new to it, because we have the ink outlines that really help as a guide for knowing where to put watercolor. Otherwise, it can be hard to manage and control all of the water and ink that might be bleeding out over the edge. But I think that in this case, since we do have the ink outline, it acts as a really helpful guide to know where to paint. But on the flip side, it also doesn't really matter if you go outside of the edges, because I think it gives a nice unfinished kind of like sketchbook aesthetic. I'm just washing over the petals with some yellow toned colors to bring out some brightness where there are highlights. Feel free to just kind of do an extra wash layer of whatever color you want over the flowers. And again, now I'm washing a darker color for the inside of the petals and to just try to mimic where shadows might be and where the pigment of the flower might be just a little bit darker. Okay, so now depending on what your goal is for the color palette of this painting, as you can see for the leaves, in my watercolor palette, there's a really bright green in the lower right and then kind of a teal, and those two colors mixed together, it just comes off a little bit too unnatural and bright, so I've mixed in a little bit of brown to tone down the green and give it a much more natural, muted color for the stems. So if you want a darker green, then mix in more brown, and if you want a lighter green, then just add more water and then mix in the lighter green. And finally for the moon, I'm gonna paint it a yellowy orange color, just really light and bright. that's it for this painting and video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more content like this, and you can also follow me on Instagram, and I just really hope that you got a little bit of inspiration from this video, if anything.